Wake up with the morning light, mountain air a chillin' bite. Got my pack, I'm good to go.
We continue the exciting true-life Alaskan adventure story of Norman and Sylvia Wilkins. If you missed any earlier episodes, please be sure to go back and enjoy them. The Alaska Diaries is a narrated true story based on first-hand journal accounts from 1979 through the 80s and 90s, following one couple's journey to build a life in the Alaskan wilderness. Told in immersive audiobook-style episodes, this series brings you into the mud, the cold, the danger, and the determination it takes to keep going. Subscribe and follow the journey if you enjoy true survival stories, wilderness adventure, and real-life grit. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter. New episodes premiere weekly. The Alaska Diaries, 10,000 Days. Episode 9, Hunting Moose, Finding Bear, and Building a Dogsled. We open this chapter continuing on with the 3-week long hunt we started in August. Part 1, Weather Turning, Time Running. We stayed out on the hunt as August gave way to September. By the first of the month, you could feel the shift. The light was still there, but it had changed, colder somehow, less forgiving. September 1st, I saw a large bull and a cow, but they were too far out. No shot worth taking. Charlie had his own chance, saw a cow and a calf, but he shook his head. Not the ones, he said. I nodded. You'll know when it is. We spent some time sighting in his rifle after that. There's a quiet kind of confidence that comes from knowing where your shot will land. Out here, that matters. The weather turned on us before long. Rain came first, then wind, then a few flakes of snow mixed in. That first snow, even just a few flakes, it tells you something. It's coming, Charlie said, looking up. It always is, I answered. That night was cold, colder than it had any right to be, sitting there in early September. But the mountains don't follow a calendar. Part 2, Tracks of Time. September 2nd, we were up early again and headed north. Walked a creek for quite a ways, packs on, lunch along. You fall into a rhythm like that. Step, breathe, step, listen. We came across a tall rock pinnacle. Stood out against everything around it. The top was streaked white. Eagles, I said. Sure enough, one was sitting up there, looking over the country like it owned it. Which in a way it did. We kept on and came to an esker, a ridge of gravel rising up out of the land, sharp-backed and narrow. I decided to walk down it. Charlie followed. Looks worse than it is, I said. Hope you're right, he answered. We were picking our way along when I saw something that stopped me. A rock, split clean in two. I picked it up, turned it over, and there it was. 3 toes. A track. A dinosaur track. I held both halves together, fitting them like a puzzle. Now that's something, Charlie said. This land's been keeping secrets a long time, I told him. I packed both pieces away. Some things you don't leave behind. We ate lunch not long after that and moved south and east. Saw more caribou, but again, too far out. That's how it goes more often than not. We shot some ptarmigan later on. Back at camp, we boiled them whole, meat, bones, everything. Drank the broth. I remember sitting there with that cup in my hands, steam rising up in the cold air. That's about as good as it gets, Charlie said. I nodded. When you're hungry enough, I told him, simple things get honest. There was another moment that day I won't forget. We were moving through willows, hunting ptarmigan. I had the shotgun, Charlie had the rifle, and we were switching off. I'd shoot, then we'd trade. Keeps things fair. I had just taken a bird and handed him the shotgun when we stepped into a small clearing. At first, all I saw was a head. Big. Still. Watching us. Then it stood. 6-foot grizzly. Bear! I shouted. Charlie didn't know if it was coming or not. He started backing up, trying to get his footing. I was holding his .30-06, not familiar with it. And he had my shotgun. Neither of us had what we wanted in that moment. The bear looked at us, saw 2 men, and turned. Ran off. We stood there a second after. Charlie let out a breath. I was wishing I had my rifle, he said. I was wishing I had my shotgun, I answered. We both laughed after that. But it was the kind of laugh that comes after something that could have gone another way. Part 3. Men come and go. September 3rd, Charlie had to leave. We knew it was coming. He had breakfast, packed up, and walked out to the strip on the Little Nelchina. Whitey was flying to pick him up. We stood there a moment before he left. "Wish I could stay," he said. "Yeah," I told him. "But you'll be back." He nodded. Then he was gone. That's the way of it out there. People come into your life strong, and then they're gone just as quick. I hunted ptarmigan that day and got 5. Mike came back in the afternoon. He'd made arrangements to get a welder brought in so we could fix the buggy wheel. That was good news. At least, it sounded like it at the time. Part 4, The Long Walk. By September 4th, we were waiting. Walked 6 miles to the airstrip, expecting Ray to show up with the welder. Waited. Nothing. So we walked back. September 5th, we worked around camp. Rested some. Tied the dredge onto the buggy, dug a garbage hole, did some shooting, brought in wood. Caught a few fish. It felt like waiting. And waiting has a way of wearing on a man. By September 6th, I'd had enough of it. No welder. No sign of Ray. So I set out to find him. Left camp around 11:30. Walked. And kept walking. Didn't know exactly which trail he'd take. Just followed what made sense. 27 miles. The last hour, in the dark. I remember coming up to a long stretch of swamp. All I could see were the tracks left behind by other machines, each one holding a bit of water that reflected the stars, like a path laid out in light. I stopped there. That's far enough, I said to myself. I laid out a small piece of canvas, crawled into my sleeping bag, and pulled the canvas over the top in case it rained. That was home for the night. I'd seen moose earlier, 2 cows and a calf, and a big bear track. Also saw plenty of broken down machines along the way. This country, it takes its toll. Part 5, What Gets Left Behind. I was up early September 7th and walked the last few miles out to the highway. Hitched a ride to Nelchina. Got myself reorganized and made my way to Gunsight. Whitey flew me out again, to the confluence of the Little Nelchina and Flat Creek. Waited again. Walking that gravel bar while I waited, I came across something interesting. A thunder egg. Then another. And another. Ended up finding 8 of them. Beautiful things if you cut them open. I gathered them up and set them beside my pack. But when it came time to leave, I forgot them. Didn't realize it until later. That's something about this life. You don't get to keep everything you find. When I got back to camp, the welder had already been delivered. Of course. Part 6, Turning Back Toward Home. September 8th, I got up early and welded the buggy wheel. Got mounted, packed up camp. Mike was ready to head back. His wife was wanting him home. On the way out, we saw 3 caribou. Could have taken 1. Didn't. Somehow, it didn't feel like the time. We passed the Nelchina, and I thought about a big piece of petrified wood I'd seen earlier. Figured I might take it back, but I lost track of where it was. And by then, it was getting dark. You let some things go. We made it out late. Stopped at Cal's. Ray was there, the man who brought the welder. We visited a while. No hard feelings. That's just how things work sometimes. Part 7, Work Never Really Ends. Back home, things didn't slow down. They never do. Saw Sylvia again at Gunsight. She'd been staying there to work, saving the drive back and forth. "Good to see you," she said. "Good to be seen," I answered. The next days were full. Helping neighbors. Fixing things. Working with dogs. And starting something new. A Dogsled. I built a stove and a tub out of a 55-gallon drum to heat water. Needed to steam the hickory runners. Get that bend just right. There's a feel to it. Too dry, and it won't bend. Too much, and it weakens. I worked at it all day on the 12th. Steam rising. Wood resisting. Finally giving. Part 8. The Shape of What's Coming. By mid-September, I was bending more wood, sighting in the .338, and getting gear ready. Not just for hunting. For winter. And for something more. A trapline. A cabin. A place out there that would be mine to work from. September 16th, Dan flew me out. We looked over country from the air. I watched the land pass beneath us, rivers, ridges, lakes, trying to see not just what it was, but what it could be. He dropped me at Nye Lake. I set up camp, just me and the land again. Part 9, Alone with the Land. The next days were quiet and full. Saw a bear one morning, heard him first, backed away. No need to push that kind of meeting. Saw over 20 caribou, none worth taking. Watched bulls fight. Watched eagles, owls, loons. Evenings came soft and long. One night, I watched 2 moose fighting as the sun went down. That's something you don't forget. But not every day felt right. Some days, nothing came together. Wind wrong. Game scarce. Too much sign of bear. You start to feel it then. Frustration. Doubt. Maybe I'm in the wrong place. I said out loud one evening. The land didn't answer. It never does. Part 10. Finding something more than game. September 19th. I ran into a man looking for someone who was lost. Showed him the area. They searched. Didn't find him that day. Later we learned he'd made it out. That's a good ending. Not all of them are. Scott stayed to hunt with me. We didn't have much luck. But I found something. A place. Good ground. Right kind of feel. This would make a good cabin site. I told him. He looked around. Yeah, I see it. That's how it starts. Not with building. With knowing. Part 11. Snow, wolves, and the turn home. We hunted more. Saw wolf dens. Birds. Tracks. But no big game worth taking. Then the snow came. Light at first. Then mixed with rain. By the 21st, it was time. Dan came and got us. We flew back. Reached Nelchina that evening. I went down a gun site to see Sylvia. Stayed the night. Part 12. Preparing for what comes next. After that, it was all about getting ready. Drying gear. Organizing. Cutting wood. Hauling loads. I hauled wood for Libby riddles, for pickup loads. Got stuck on the last one. Of course. Had to unload. Try to get pulled out. Didn't work. Finished it the next day with a swamp buggy. That's Alaska. Nothing simple. Trips to Anchorage for supplies. More work. More preparation. Because by then, it wasn't early anymore. Winter was coming. Part 13. A brief celebration. September 27th came. Mike and Lynette's wedding. Reception after. People gathered. Laughter. Music. A break in the work. And I remember standing there, looking around, thinking how quickly things shift. One day you're out in the mountains, watching a wolf move across the ridge. Next day, you're standing in a room full of people celebrating a new beginning. That's Alaska. It doesn't separate your life into neat pieces. It gives it to you all at once. Hard work, quiet moments, danger, joy, loss, and the sense always that you're only a small part of something much bigger. And if you stay long enough, you start to understand. That's exactly the point. This concludes episode 9. If you are enjoying the story and would like the books this story is based on, go to 10,000daysinalaska.com for more info. Episode 10 will air next Saturday at 7 a.m. Alaska time. And for all you Midwesterners watching and listening, that means 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Building a dog sled by hand. You don't just build a dog sled. Not really. You learn it piece by piece, same way you learn the land. Slowly, with a few mistakes, and a little bit of stubbornness. I remember the first one I put together. Nothing fancy, just wood, tools, and the kind of cold that makes everything honest. It starts with the runners. Everything does. You take 2 long pieces of hardwood, ash if you can get it, birch if that's what you've got, and you shape them into a gentle curve. Not too sharp, just enough to lift at the front so they'll ride up over snow instead of digging in. That curve, that's where patience comes in. Steam helps. Heat the wood, soften it, then bend it slow. If you rush it, it'll crack, and wood doesn't forgive you twice. Once they're shaped, you fix steel or brass along the bottoms. That's what lets the sled glide instead of drag. Without that, you're just hauling weight. Then you bring the 2 runners together. Cross pieces go between them, solid, evenly spaced. This is your foundation. You bolt them if you want strength, but I always like backing that up with rawhide lashings. Rope works too. Gives the sled a little flex, and out here, flex means survival. A rigid sled snaps. A living one bends. From there, you build upward. The frame rises off those runners, uprights set firm, tied in tight. Then the side rails running forward and sweeping up just a touch. Everything flows forward. A sled should look like it's already moving, even when it's standing still. Cross bracing comes next. Don't skip it. That's what keeps the whole thing from twisting when the trail gets rough or when the dogs decide they've got more energy than sense. After that, the handlebar. That's your connection to the sled. Your anchor. You shape it from hardwood again, bending it into a curve that fits your hands naturally. You'll spend hours back there, days sometimes, so it better feel right. Bolt it to the uprights, lash it tight. I always added a second inner grip, something steady when the trail turns ugly. You'll thank yourself for that later. Then come the footboards. Simple slats laid across the frame, strong enough to hold you, spaced just enough to shed snow. You fasten them down, screws, lashings, whatever you trust, but make sure they sit solid. This is where you stand, where you balance, where you ride the line between control and chaos. Once it's all together, you go over every inch. Sand the edges, smooth the splinters, tighten what's loose. Listen to it. A good sled will tell you if something's not right. You just have to pay attention. And when you're done, you don't admire it too long. You hook up the dogs. You load it light the first time, and you take it out onto the snow, because a sled isn't finished in the workshop. It's finished out there, with the runners whispering over ice, the lines pulling taut, and the whole thing coming alive beneath your hands. That's when you know if you built it right. And if you didn't, well, the trail will teach you.